Here are 7 tips to instantly improve your sports videos, starting with tip number 1, which is to plan out your shots before the game. Now, filming sports is very unpredictable, so you can't plan out every shot, but those pre-game and post-game shots where you kind of have a little more free reign, those are ones you need to plan out, whether it's getting certain shots of the crowd or the stadium / court or whatever sports you shoot. Getting those shots during pregame where you have a little bit more pull as to how those shots come out. Those are the ones you need to have planned out. 1 is gonna make your editing process a lot faster, and 2, you're gonna be able to put your video together a lot more the way you want it, knowing that you have those certain shots in your repertoire. Tip number 2, and me personally, I think this is one of the most important tips that anybody can give you, and that is to learn sound design. When you go to the movies, of course, seeing the visuals is great and everything, but as you're seeing it, you're hearing it. They got the loudspeakers playing, you're hearing everything going on while also seeing everything going on. That's the same approach that I take with all of my sports videos. You don't want to be just putting highlights together over music and calling it a day. The viewer needs to be able to both see and hear what's going on. Even if that's just adding like some crowd noise or a couple plays throughout the video, even that will take your videos a long way. But of course, once you get more and more in tune with sound design and more in tune with practicing it, then you'll be able to add all the cinematic sound effects like the hits, the risers, and the specific sound effects for your sports like pad hitting for football or swishes and basketball stuff, or whatever sport you shoot. Sound design is very key to level up your videos. Tip number 3 is to overshoot and not undershoot. This is a big one because it's happened to me a lot early on in my career where I'll shoot a couple shots during pregame, and once I feel like I have enough, I'll be like, fine, I can put my camera up until the game starts. Or post-game comes and I'll be like, fine, I don't need to shoot any post-game, I'm good. Or even during the game, shooting B-roll and the team's winning big, I'll be like, I'm good, I got enough plays, I can put my camera up. And when you get back home for the edit, and you're looking like, dang, I need some more shots for this edit. That's why you always need to overshoot. You will always rather have more than enough clips for the edit than not enough. Because you never know, you overshooting could be the difference between putting that video together the way you want to and making a hard cinematic masterpiece, or you having those couple pieces missing from your edit that really just change the whole production of it. So always overshoot, especially during pregame where you have free reign to go anywhere on the field or anywhere in the court or anywhere in the arena. That's when you need to be getting tons of shots, tons of different angles, really just capturing anything that you can see, whether it's the crowd, players, just the whole atmosphere. Capture everything so that you have as much footage to play with when you get back home for the edit. Tip number 4 is to get in there, bruh. No Diddy. No Diddy, but get in there, bruh. When you go into the game, whether it's football, basketball, any major sport, majority of the time, if you have a media credential, that means you can go anywhere on the field or court during pregame. And you need to take full advantage of that media credential. During those pregame speeches, get in there, try to get in a circle, get as close as you can, and get those angles, bro. When you're creating videos, you want to be able to give the viewers and the fans an experience and a visual that they can't get from the stands. That means getting up close and personal and getting those angles of the players that the viewers can't see from the stands. With all the NFL films and stuff like that, they get real tight, real close, and when they're on the field, they're up close and personal with the players because as a fan in the stands, we can't see all of that. So we're relying on your videos to get that experience. So get in there, don't be afraid to get up and close and personal, especially during pregame and postgame when you have that ability to with your media credential. Get up in there and get those shots. Pause! Tip number 5 is to get different angles. You see a lot of like the college and NFL or professional, whatever sports you shoot, those professional sports teams, when they make their recap videos, they have a ton of different angles. Now with them, it's a lot easier because they have multiple shooters covering one game. With you as an individual, the only way you're gonna be able to pull that off is getting different angles, both with your focal length and your actual positioning in whatever arena you're in. One, with your focal length, you need to be getting wide shots, intermediate, super close and detailed, get all different kinds of shots to play with in the edit. And same goes for your actual positioning on the field or court or wherever you're at. If you're filming football, don't just sit in the back of the end zone the whole game. Move around. Same thing with basketball. Don't just sit under the baseline the whole game waiting for somebody to come and dunk. Move around, go in the stands, go on the sidelines. Once again, take advantage of your media credential and move around where you're permitted to so you can get different angles throughout the entirety of the game and really be able to capture the whole game and the whole experience. Tip number 6 is color grading. Learning how to color grade is what really brings your video to life, especially if you shoot in a log color profile. You know that log is super duper gray and bland, and color grading is what bring your videos to life. I've seen a bunch of different color grading tutorials all over YouTube, and everybody's process is different. You don't want, of course, you don't want your footage to be looking like everybody else to a T, but you want it to resemble a certain standard. So knowing how to color grade is really what's gonna bring your footage to life, and in some instances, even tell the story that you wanted to tell. Like if it's like a moody, sad type feel that you want for your game footage, you can color grade your footage a certain way to give off that feel. That's why you need to go on YouTube or TikTok, wherever you can find tutorials and try to learn how to color grade. I just dropped a color grading tutorial on my last video, so if y'all want to use mine, you can. If you don't use LumaFusion, there's a whole bunch of other different creators that have created color grading tutorials, so just use everyone you can find that you can understand. It'll really level up your sports videos. Tip number 7, and probably the most important tip, that's probably why I saved it for last. It's a 2-part tip basically that go hand in hand, and it's to learn your gear and use YouTube University to your advantage. First off, with learning your gear, whether it's you trying to figure out what gear you need if you're just starting, or if you have gear and just don't know what to do just yet, using YouTube or using other creatives or just going out and trying it, learning how to use your gear is what is going to be able to set you apart from everybody else. You could have the Sony FX3 or the R5 Mark II or whatever freaking good camera you want in the world, but if you don't know how to use it, if you don't know the correct settings, if you don't know what lenses to pair with it, if you don't know how to use that thing, you're not going to be able to get the full capabilities and the full quality of that camera. And me personally, I had to learn that the hard way. I bought an R7, which is the camera I'm using right now, a couple years back. Didn't really watch too many tutorials on it. The footage was decent, but I saw a real jump in my footage quality and my workflow in general once I started watching tutorials, learning what settings to use and all of that to be able to use the camera to its max potential. So learning how to use your gear, but also on the flip side, if you're just starting out and trying to figure out what you need, using YouTube to learn what gear you need depending on what you're shooting. If you're filming basketball, you may not need to get a 70-200 unless you're getting certain shots, of course. You may need to get a 24-70 or a 24-105, and that can be your main driver for the whole game. So knowing what gear you need and your price range is really gonna help you have the right tools to be able to create those really good videos. But also, back to the other part of the tip, using YouTube University to your advantage. A good 95% of everything that I know sports media wise, I've learned from YouTube. Of course, trial and error is how I learned a lot too, because nowadays gatekeeping culture is just popular for some reason. Nobody likes giving out advice, nobody likes giving out tips, and everybody sees everybody else in the sports creative community as competition. And that's why I made this YouTube channel to change that, so people can be able to use YouTube to actually learn and actually build their careers and learn how to basically do sports media. But using YouTube for what you can find on YouTube. YouTube helped me learn a lot, from learning my camera to learning how to edit certain things and knowing where I need to be at on the field, or even just giving me inspiration from finding and seeing other creators on YouTube that are at the level I want to be at. You need to be on YouTube as much as possible, no matter what area you at, because it can, one, give you inspiration, and two, actually teach you what you need to know, what you need to use, and really just how to be a better sports media creative. Like I always say, comment down below on what tips or tutorials or whatever y'all want to see on the channel. Make sure y'all stay tuned, because it's every Wednesday I'm dropping a new video on the channel, whether it's a tutorial, tips videos, a vlog of my sports media journey, or even just my content. No matter what, a video is dropping on Wednesday. And just make sure y'all stay tuned and subscribing and sharing and stuff like that. We're trying to get rid of this gatekeeping culture, man, so we don't keep dropping these tutorials, and really just trying to make the blueprint for sports media, more so sports videography, because that's what I do. Because when I was coming up, gatekeeping was like super popular as well, where I'll be reaching out to people and they'll leave me on delivered or leave me on scene. Well, I'm just trying to get advice, but they just see me as another competitor try to take their spot. And in a sense, that is what's going on. I'm not trying to take your spot, but I am like another person in the field that you have to compete with to land gigs and stuff like that. But at the same time, a lot of people just have a passion for this. A lot of people don't even like care about the money. They just want to do it and want to know how to do it, to, I don't know, create videos for their kids, or just really they like doing it. And I'm gonna be here to make the blueprint for that. So make sure y'all stay tuned for the journey, man. And I'll see y'all next Wednesday.